Bonjour and welcome back to my series on the Apex editions 2000 AD and the artists. And here we go. This video is going to be having a look at this bad boy, the Apex edition of Kevin O'Neill's 2000 AD artwork. And you know I can't just go through it. This is the slipcase. This is the beautiful slipcase actually. Which we'll have a little look at when I do the deep dive. But you know I can't just look inside these. There we go. That's what we're going to be having a look at. You know I can't just do it. I can't just do it straight, can I? Not only have I got lots of 2000 AD, obviously, to look at, but we're going to have a little look at these old babies. Bit of Star-Lord we're going to have. We're going to get involved. Dan Dare Annuals. Yes. Did you ever think you'd either see one or see one again? Well, stay tuned, as they say. And then there's also some stuff that I found in these early reprint editions, the early collected volumes. So please join me after the scroll if you want a little bit more 2000 AD gloriousness in the form of the wonderful Kevin O'Neill. After the scroll. Okay guys, let's get right into this. The art of Kevin O'Neill, the 2000 AD art of Kevin O'Neill, the late great Kevin O'Neill, sadly not with us anymore. This is a beautiful slipcase edition with a cover of Star-Lord, which we will look at. And I think that was, I don't know if that was a cover or a pin-up, I don't know what that was, but we are going to get into it. I've got the original of that. Or say the original, I mean the published version, forgive me. But I just thought that was really nice to start there. Let's start with this glorious cover, and this is how it appeared in Prog 112. I don't know why I've got a curly copy, but look at it's a beautiful thing, and the colouring just added to it. I'd still like to know, and no one's got back to me about the colouring on some of this stuff, because this artwork here, these lines where the panels end and it's a cover, so Kev has obviously had to think about this, the lines on the Satan dart and the lines right in going up to and including the cover. The more you look at this cover, the more gloriously technical, and then you look at the colouring which is included in. That is one stunning cover right there. And I'm sorry if you think I'm already going for it before I've even opened the book. I do apologise. But this is what you're in for, guys. This is what you're in for. Some beautiful artwork, and well, I don't know what I'm trying to do. Explain it or explain why I love it. The colouring on it, even down to the green 10p, someone's had to make a decision just to colour that different. Would that have stood out in the red of 2000? But the whole thing, I still think that is one of the most stunning covers that they did up until that point. We're on Prog, you know, we're 2 years in. A stunning cover and a beautiful cover to this Apex edition. So let's get on with it. Obviously, we got I think that's Metalzoic, a kind of an extreme close up. We've got the good old Robusters as always, Hammerstein and Rojaws, which would be. There is a lot of Robusters artwork in here with these two guys, and he did for a while become synonymous with these two characters. Nothing, and there is nothing wrong with that. This is the early days of Kevin O'Neill, who started with 2000 AD as an art assistant and he was bodging the art. So what he was basically doing was getting rid of the signatures and stuff on their artwork. This is just a little tip in to limit it to the 400 copies. Contents forward. So here we go. These are early sketches of Tharg from 2000 AD. Now, I haven't got any, I don't know where these come from. Obviously, Rebellion have dug these up through the collectors and people that have got his original artwork, or maybe even O'Neill's estate. Just thought that was really interesting. You can see this was the one, you can see that this was the one they kind of went with. And even in some of the early annuals, we'll have a little look, because they even went with the not the star on the cheek, they certainly went with that look, definitely. 2000 AD Summer Special. That's how it would have appeared in the summer of 1977. So the comic hadn't actually been out long at all. Itself, I think it was in the February, March that the comic actually came out, 2000 AD. And inside of all the characters you would have put Kevin O'Neill with, it was Judge Dredd. Inside, it's great. This is what 2000 AD was all about in 1977. Invasion, Dan Dare and the Biogs, Dredd and the Heavy Metal Kids, which was the robot revolution, and Call Me Kenneth and all that. Harlem Heroes by Dave Gibbons, Mach 1 and Flesh. That was the start of it. But obviously Judge Dredd was at that point he was not the biggest character, and it was only reproduced in black and white here, so there's not a lot of difference. As always, you know how much I love these little details, these little tippexing out of the details here, and just to get rid of the lines around that box, so that when it's reproduced in print, there was obviously a line around that box that they tipexed out. And how much better someone made the decision. I mean, that was Kevin O'Neill's job, was to bodge. Like, if he'd have put O'Neill there, his job when he started with 2000 AD would be to tipex O'Neill out. But he's obviously not going to do that on his own artwork, whether or not he was doing it on here. There's the next two pages. I love this shot. And already, this is 1977. This is what we will come to know Kevin O'Neill for. Again, glorious pages. You can see the tipex from the lettering. Love this detailing. Don't know what he would have used here, whether it was the rotoscope, retroscope, whatever they called it. But there we go. That gun. Didn't miss one bullet. Just comes together seamlessly for me. Kevin O'Neill's artwork, very, very, I wouldn't say he was a fluid artist. Something about his arms look short. The arms look, on this figure work. If you wanted to, really, really, critique it in the earlier days, this is where he came alive in the aliens and robots. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. This story appeared in this little beauty, the first 2000 AD annual. Would have been dated 1978, but it would have come out in 77, because the British annuals of the time would have come out October, November time, so they could have been bought for Christmas, and then it wouldn't be out of date by the new year. So it made sense from a publishing perspective to date everything a year in advance. So yes, this would have been published in 1977, and that's where this story, The Hunted, appears. Kevin O'Neill. I don't know who did the cover on this, but this is how it appeared in this annual. And these weren't great affairs back in the day, these annuals. I think it's quite interesting to see how little anything changes, really. with O'Neill's. Nothing's lost in his work. I think the details still, you know, he's had to sketch in the nature. He's had to do it. And these annuals, let's just have a look. There's nothing of note in these. The old British way of doing it on the cheap was to have text reprints. Well, that wasn't a reprint, sorry, but these certainly were. The Buffalo Hunting, a 2000 AD annual. Now, I know it was probably to do with flesh, linked in. Look at, you know, some of the artwork on it was not the best. So yeah, they were done on the cheap, these annuals, but nevertheless, I still love them. That was just a 3-page kind of like, yeah, Farg's Future Shock. Then we come on to the next year, and Mac Zero was another character in 2000 AD at the time. A year later, it started off with Mac 1, who was a $6 million man. Homage, should we call it? And again, there's nothing lost. I think the transfer is glorious. Little details like this, you know, there's no need to just do that little shin bit hanging out, and, you know, the little details here were very, very nice. What else was in the 1978 2000 AD special? Well, it was a cover by O'Neill, and again, the detail in the tech, you know, the nuts and bolts as the bullets rip through on this cover. There's such a dynamic. I remember looking at I would just stare at the artwork sometimes of this comic at a certain age. You've got Gary Leach doing on Dan Dare, which was unusual. It was Dave Gibbons' baby. It was Bella Donelli originally, but then Dave Gibbons. And this was a really unusual Gary Leach artwork. It wasn't the dark inks. I don't know whether he was using a brush and ink. You can tell it's Gary Leach, but I think he experimented. I never saw his artwork in this style again with Gary Leach. It was never. I didn't enjoy always enjoy his artwork. And he's an artist who is sadly no longer with us. Always enjoyed his artwork, and you can see it's all pure Gary Leach, but early days. I think he was still experimenting, without a doubt. And I don't think there is anything else of note in. No, there's not. There is. So this pin-up. Here is the story. The Mac Zero story that obviously Kevin O'Neill has written. It isn't produced in its Apex edition, so this is an extra for you guys. And this was a kind of a cross between the Incredible Hulk and the $6 Million Man, if you can imagine such a thing. This character, again, he's good at the tech. But when you're looking at the human side of things, I'm not saying he couldn't draw a human body, but the arms are short again. Don't know what it was. That's just my little personal thing with Kevin O'Neill. But aliens and robots and tech, yeah, all day long. But a wonderfully dark art style. Look at how impactful that is. Yeah, they were good. They were good times. So yeah, Kevin O'Neill in the early days. When do we go? When do we flick forward to? We flick forward to the next year, 1979, 2000 AD annual. And again, that I think is reproduced beautifully from the original artwork. I think obviously O'Neill must have coloured these himself. He must have done. And I don't think there is anything of note in this annual. That looks like it could be. No, I don't know if that looks like early Brendan McCarthy. It is. It's early Brendan McCarthy on Judge Dredd. in his hand. Look at him, you can see Brendan's already getting mad with it. You can see these flourishes, yeah, it's definitely. And probably Ewins and McCarthy, maybe. I'm saying probably, maybe. Definitely, probably. Without, you know, without heavily. This is definitely Brendan, that you can tell. The Brendan McCarthy flourishes that we will come to know and love. Yeah. So that was just a couple of years in to 2000 AD. Next up, we've got a cover. And that's what it's like in colour. One of those times, and I think I said this on the Mick McMahon video when we done his Apex edition, the colouring adds nothing. I prefer that so much in the black and white. Even with the lettering, I prefer it. You know, seeing all the way it's been stuck on and the little bits of Tipex, I prefer that than that in colour. 1977, really, you know, just not even a year in to 2000 AD. I just think it's really interesting to see how this artwork pans out in real life. So we're on issue 53 now, so we're just over the 1 year mark. And this Walter the Wobot, if you watch my Brian Bolland video, you know how much I didn't rate the whole Walter the Wobot thing, Blueprint and all that. Oh, I don't know, but it was obviously cheering someone up at the 2000 AD head office, and Kevin O'Neill did a pin-up. So I know it's great for completists, but let's have a look at the issue that this stupid pin-up was in. You've got Dave Gibbons on Dan Dare, look. You can see that, I know this is early days, but like I know I've said it before, you can see that Gibbons was there with his style that we'd all come to know and love. What else did we have? Yeah, Forgettable Montero, obviously one of the European artists. Nothing wrong with his art, but you know, nothing totally memorable. Jim Watson art, actually, I did enjoy this artwork. He was over on Action and Battle for many years. Then you've got the wonderful Ian Gibson on Judge Dredd. And I do forget, I am guilty of forgetting how much Dredd he did, actually, Ian Gibson. You kind of think of him as Robo Hunter and Halo Jones. But you can see this is early days as well, before he developed that more highly, if you think he can get more highly detailed than this, yes, he did. That cartoony, highly stylised. And there's and then we've got Brett Ewins on a Future Shock. So wow, I mean, what a lineup. Brett Ewins, Kevin O'Neill, we've got Bellana Donnelly on Inferno. It wasn't the greatest story, to be fair. But it was decent. So yeah, the glory days. The glory days of 2000 AD. Issue 71. That's how it transferred. And again, I don't know if I want to see a blue and orange ant, but it's the cover, so it's got to be in colour, hasn't it? Obviously the label's been lost there because it's 9 pence. 9 pence in Earth money. Oh, look at that. We had the McDonald's Marauders, Mick McMahon. I know we've been through it, but I can't help myself. The Battle of the Burger Barons. But I will probably, the next one up, I think one of the next one up is definitely McMahon. So we will be going through it. Look at Bellana Donnelly's artwork, you know, when he was going for it. Artie Gruber, the villain of the piece. Here's more Mac Zero, Mike Dory on the artwork. Mike Dory's artwork did suit the character. Like I say, it was $6 Million Man crossed with the Incredible Hulk, is the way I see it. Dave Gibbons on Dan Dare. Again, you can see his style. But anyway, this is about Kevin O'Neill. So we will keep to Kevin O'Neill. For some reason, another Ant Wars cover for 2000 AD. I think that's a nice. I think that's a good, a decent colouring job. Not that the others were bad. I think that's a decent colouring job on this. But you can tell the difference between what I'm going to show you next, which is a Star-Lord cover, which was on better stock paper. Look at that. look at how vibrant the colours were in that, and look at that, it's almost exact. In fact, yeah, I don't think you could get a lot closer, rather than this newsprint where the ink would soak in. And that's what I loved Star-Lord. It blew my mind when it came out, Star-Lord. This was issue 5, but you had Strontium Dog and Roadbusters. They were the standouts for everyone. I think it's only the yellow that kind of lost a bit. Other than that, I think everything else. The eyes. Someone's added them in. And years later, do you know what? Sadly, I would remember this cover because the Roadbusters had to go in and rescue the people that had gone through this building when 9/11 happened. Sadly, and I know it's a sad thing to compare to a comic, and I'm not being horrible, but I remembered this cover somehow. I don't know. I just remembered that cover. Oh, that was on the slipcase, which was a cover of Star-Lord again. And again, I think those colours come shining through. And now we're getting into more. This is O'Neill developing his style now. You're into 1979 probably now. No, 1978, sorry. So, you're getting to the end of. You're a couple of years in now, and I think he's getting into that highly stylised form of artwork that he's starting to. Why should there be a can down there? I know they're going into an alleyway, but that's a nice little detail to use to go into an alleyway. What else was in? Let's just have a quick look. What else was in this Star-Lord? Was there anything? There must be a Strontium Dog. Oh no, it was Roadbusters in the middle. That isn't great artwork. So no, that issue 5 was a bit of a bummer. So we'll leave that one alone and skip straight to the pin-up that was in issue 19. So we're getting towards the end of its run. It only lasted 22 issues, Star-Lord. Did it have anything? Oh, look, we've got Ian Gibson on Strontium Dog. His artwork didn't suit it. After Ezquerra, I've got to admit, I didn't like anyone. That's a mess for me. And anyone who's watched my videos knows how much I love Ian Gibson. That's a mess. His artwork didn't suit it, and I don't know what he was experimenting with here. God knows what he was, but that is just a mess. Shame. But we're here for, like I say, we're here for O'Neill. And by now, Star-Lord has gone and joined with 2000 AD. So here we've got a cover, and it's the Roadbusters. And issue 88 would be properly Kevin O'Neill centric. Look, we've got McCarthy Ewing's Dread in here. Look, let's just have a little look. He did like the big respirator. Did Ewing's and McCarthy. I still enjoyed our artwork though. Still enjoyed it. You had Bolland and Dillon on Fresh 2. But here we go, Roadbusters. And this is where I think Kevin started making his name, I think anyway, from Star-Lord into, and again, nothing is lost. Nothing's lost in translation. And it was Pat Mills flexing his anti-war, he's very working class centric, and nothing wrong with any of what I just said. And again, you've got the tech, the guns, and his style just suited it because it was robots mostly, and his style was definitely coming into its own. Ezquerra on Strontium Dog, you can't beat it. Sergeant Carp, that was a great storyline where he was in the legions of whatever it was. Anyway, I've done that in the Ezquerra video. So, reminds me of old Sergeant Pop. So we'll just, I don't know why they've added this page in, scanned from the film, not original art. I think just to be completist for the story. But again, the tech and the detail, which, like Bolland, like McMahon, these artists would take their time. Well, They would need time, not take their time. They would just need. They would need the time to complete these storylines. And there was no look. I mean, look, you look at a splash page like that, and you know you've got no. How long would that take? You know, I would say a long while. And in this issue, issue 90, again another class act. You've got McMahon on Dread with the Judge Fish. Salute, you know, this is the one where, you know, a fish is deputised, and here we go. The Volganyar. Look, the bullets coming out of the gun. Just the more, it's better to obviously to look on here. You know, the detail. Look, even someone getting bayoneted in the trenches in the background. Love this kind. Another bullet casing being ejected. That's glorious stuff. And who else would have been in a bit more Bellinadonelli and a bit more Ezquerra on Strontium Dog, carrying on that storyline. The Warlogs, that was it. The Warlogs. They were the warmongers of the galaxy. And class, everything we love about Ezquerra. I thought there might have been some Gibbons in there somewhere. No. But here's more of this artwork. One of the humans is obviously being driven nuts. But again, I would say that his forte was everything else but the human characterisation. Everything, aliens, robots, he was there. I like the fact that, you know, he's given a robot a human face. Which has got, and you can tell this is all Pat Mills driven. You can tell, you know, where you're feeling, you know, just as much emotion, if not more, for the robots than you are, you know, a robot winking. That's very Star Wars-esque, isn't it? Giving robots human emotions. An unused cover, which obviously I haven't got for issue 97. Never seen that before until I got this Apex edition. Apparently the comic shipped so late because of strikes and stuff in 1978 that issue 97 shipped so late that they couldn't put a Christmas cover on it. But look, we're seeing all the typical stuff. I don't know what the idea of it was, really, to have, I don't know, some of the old robots from yesterday. I don't know, but then you've got, yeah, I don't know what they was doing there. Because you've got, what's the name of the film? I'm trying to think of. Metropolis. Here we go, another glorious cover. And again, it's all robusters. But this is what he done. I think anyway. This is what he done the best. There's an annoying poster in there, like I said in the last video, where Gary Leach on Judge Dredd. God, yes. You know, dark art style. He did love a bit of ink, that boy. But I loved him, especially on the Clegs, the alien mercenaries in that storyline. Ian Gibson, this is more like it. Look at this work of Ian Gibson's. Look. With that cartoony detailed style, I just absolutely couldn't get enough of that. Look at that. Brilliant. But we're here for the Robo Knackers Yard. Oh, there's a bit of Gibbons on Dan Dare. Carl, we were spoiled, weren't we? And again, you know, they're kind of putting human emotions into the robots, or Pat Mills is. Little bit of this, what was it called? The rotoscope, was it? Kevin O'Neill, I don't think he didn't use that for long. This rotoscope and this shading that he's putting on here. Don't think he did that a lot after, you know, after this particular run. Look, all this. That isn't what I would call a typical page of O'Neill at all. It would be line work. It wouldn't be shading. All of this, all of the tech as usual. Look, every single track, not just a few lines that we, you know, to make us think that we know that it is tracked. No, it is every link, and that's what would become, you know, a kind of his signature. Issue 104 of 2008. A nice Dave Gibbons Dan Dare pin up on the back. Strontium dog in colour in the middle. It doesn't get more exciting, does it? Look at Gibbons artwork, but look at all of the whiteout, the Tibex that's been used. So we've got to see this page, haven't we? We've got to see how that page come out. And that's definitely an improvement when it got printed. Someone's obviously typed that out and had to stick it on. I don't know whether they stuck the panels on or that to cut. Does it look like they've had to cut around? Maybe cut around, I think. Yeah, cut around the panels with all this stuff. Did they have to, it looks like they've had to cut around the, yeah, someone has had to do that. I don't know whether that would have been an art editor or not. And again, you know, still using this. I think it's called rotoscope. Forgive me if it's not that. But he wouldn't be using all these techniques. You know, the fingerprinting in the ink and all this for long. It would be purely focused on the line work. Again, see how glorious he makes the robots and the detail all the way into the background, all the way. No wonder it took him so long. Such a unique style. There's the pin-up in colour for all you completists. Don't know if that, you know, Road Jaws, I suppose, yeah, he was a dirty robot, wasn't he? He was a rubbish droid. So I think that colour job does suit it, to be fair. And I think someone did make an effort with a dusk or whatever you want to call that to match the... Yeah, I think someone done a decent job on that, I think. And we're up to 1979 now. Dan Dare Annual. This isn't in the Apex edition. 2000 AD production. This predates the Judge Dredd annuals, actually. So this is the first kind of offshoot of 2000 AD that we would have had, apart from the summer specials. So that's a nice O'Neill cover. And again, you've got the nice tech bits, the detailed explosions, nice colouring as well. I reckon he was doing the colouring on these. And inside, in full colour, a treat. They've started to do these annuals with a bit of, with a bit more money, with a bit of a bigger budget. we've got O'Neill Dredd in colour as a little treat in a Dan Dare annual of all things. And everything's there. The short arms. You know I love him. But the arms on his fingers, I don't know why they were so short. That was just his style. I mean, for McMahon, it would have been, you know, skinny, you know, big boots, rancid looking Dredd. But, you know, for O'Neill, it was, I don't know about the colouring though. I don't know if this was part of the story, because there was a lot of pink going on. So maybe the pink is something to do with it. Even Walter the Wobot has got a pink handkerchief, so the motif of the story is pink, perhaps. I don't know. These are quite nice panels, actually, with this little gun. And he even says it, your pea shooter just bouncing off my arm. I like that. That's very nice. And typical 2000 AD, slipping on a banana peel, falling out, you know, going off into the mega aquarium. So there we go. There's a little bit of O'Neill's humour as well in the storylines, or in his art, in the storylines via the artwork. And again, next year, another cover, another superb cover, and the motif again. The nice detail on these spaceships. He did do that the best. Got to say that was marking his style. And just of note, in this one in full colour was a McMahon. That's the only thing of note other than his cut. Just a nice McMahon little Future Shock story in full colour. I would have been very excited at the time to get an O'Neill cover and McMahon in full colour in that album. So that was just an interlude. Back to Roadbusters, back to 2000 AD, back to Kevin O'Neill doing what he does best. And again, it's weird how the artwork comes alive when it is robots. And just take a Asimov rules, okay. C-3PO is a human. Robbie was here. Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill. I mean, the subversiveness of Kevin O'Neill is really coming out here, and teamed up with Pat Mills. I mean, that was So in Prog 111, this story appears. Again, we've got all the stalwarts in here. We've got Robo Hunter with Ian Gibson. We have got, I love that character. We have got Ezquerra, Strontium Dog Desert of Living Dead. That was a great storyline. Again, his artwork, works better in black and white than it does in colour. Maybe it's just the colouring though. I just think that colouring is really crude. Dave Gibbons on down there, what a lineup. And then at the back you've got the Roadbusters of Kevin O'Neill. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And how well his artwork transferred, I think. And it was on this nice, in this era, it was on this nice, this better grade of paper stock, Gibbons pin-up. In the back, again, the tech. This stuff, there was a quality about O'Neill's work, without a doubt. I mean, he went anti-McMahon with the boots, didn't he? He went small with the feet. This little robot here, look at the detailing on that. As if the story required that to make it work. Definitely tongues firmly in cheek when they was writing and drawing this Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill together. There's that glorious cover again. Can't get enough of that, can I? And inside, Ron Smith Dread. Good old Ian Gibson. Ian Gibson's really coming into his own now. Really kind of coming out of that overly cartoony style, getting into that Halo Jones style that we was going to come to know and love later on. Getting this scare in full colour, look, Horseman of the Apocalypse. I mean, you can tell why everyone who's grown up with this comic. Dave Gibbons on down there again, you just tell, can't you? What a lineup. Here we go. Greasy Gracies. The little bits of Tipex here around. I don't know what was Tipex out here. Maybe a bit of spittle actually. Looks like there might have been spittle coming out. That's somehow the art team, the art editors, art assistant, whatever it is, didn't like. But to be fair, Hume's out again. Robbie was here again on the graffiti. As always, just the detailed work that went into it all. You know, just everywhere you look, just everywhere. What just beautiful artwork. That's an unusual one, to be fair, with curves in it. This is more like it, which later on it would be the Blitz spear, but that's the Satan's dart. That's a weird bit of. You could tell that it would have been Tom Frame, I would bet. Oh no, it's Pete Knight. But somehow, look, Pete Knight's lettering, except here and here. So, don't know what kind of change that may have been. This is all looking very what's to come, a prelude of what's to come. You know, this is the Satan dart, but this is all looking like the Blitz spear and the terror tubes, isn't it? In what was to come. I think so anyway. And that's the end of the Roadbusters kind of era of O'Neill's. Again, this detailed work. He loved all this mayhem. He loved the mayhem of it all. You can see this. Here we go into the terror tubes, the carousel. So now we move on. ABC Warriors into this a nice cover. This is the mysterious commander of the ABC Warriors. So we've got Hammerstein from the Roadbusters in this group, like the Magnificent Seven they were called. Great storylines. I did go through a few of these with in the Mick McMahon video. Some nice signatures here. Spread the word. Kevin O'Neill. He'd always write something, either the date. He couldn't just write his name. Mick McMahon, Alan Moore, John Wagner. It would only be, not that they're in this book, it would just be that they was all at the signing. I just got them to sign all the books. But here are the tip-in pages. These were brand new pages as a prelude to the story. And you can see the style is moving on now. The style is becoming a little bit loose, maybe just a tad looser. If anything, that looks better there on this nice quality paper. It's really reproduced well. You can make out everything. Perhaps it's just the yellowing of the pages of the years. And then obviously throughout, you've got McMahon. There's a bit of Brendan McCarthy's artwork. They had some good art teams on the, you could tell what was to come from Brendan McCarthy as well there, couldn't you? McMahon, we went through that. So that was the ABC Warriors, just the prologue. Back to the progs, and it's going full pelt now. The ABC, look at that, in colour. On that paper stock. That would have definitely blown my mind back in the day. And these characters did as well. Joey Pineapple was talking in numbers, letters and numbers. He was proper non-binary. And this was a story. This was Pat Mills in full flow as well. Because I always remember this guy getting it at the end. He was the personification of the World War I officer. He was even called Rodney. You can even hear Pat Mills giving everyone, well done, Rodney. Sending all the robots into, because they're all the poisonous. They've just been sent into the grinder, and they're celebrating with champagne. But this guy, he's the one assembling the team. You know, could Hammerstein be the leader I'm looking for? That's just a front piece from book 1. Let's just bring that back. Where was that? Where did I miss that? The front piece. There we go. We saw it when I was too busy showing off the signatures, wasn't I? There we go. Using the old rotoscope and that again. On there, another beautiful full colour centre spread. Look. Let's go and have a look at that. Yeah, look, that has translated really well, hasn't it? Into those colours. And Pat Mills was really on fire with this one as well. I really did enjoy ABC Warriors and this era of this font of 2000. There was nothing. Oh, look at that Bolland on Dread. Bolland on Dread. Nice paper stock. What was this? Disaster 99. That was old Savage from Invasion. O'Neill and Dave Gibbons down there. It's great. Great. What's not to love back in the day? And again, we're now seeing these ABC Warriors. We are now seeing some of what was to come in Nemesis, aren't we? I think, anyway. We're starting to see this style, this kind of gothic way about his art style that you could definitely see coming. Look at that. Great stuff. This ABC Warriors book 2 I haven't got, but you can see how his art style during this period is definitely, it's changing now. You know, all this kind of stuff's coming in now. Like, he was really going for it. You know, stuff that's kind of leading up to martial law later on. You can really see, like, post Nemesis. And I would say his figure work's getting better as well. Definitely getting better. His arms are longer. I think, anyway, this was the story that got him into trouble. Called Shock, from the Judge Dredd annual, 1981. Apparently there was a court case. If I can find it, there we go. There was a court case where apparently they'd stolen the idea, or whoever was it, Pat Mills? Oh, Logan O'Neill. Yeah, apparently it was too near to a Hollywood film. But we're just here for the artwork, not for the... There we go. We're just here for that. Stuff like this. Look at that. Back in 81. This was obviously in 1981, and you can tell, you know, this is so overcomplicated for O'Neill. I think, anyway, he wouldn't have gone anywhere near stuff like that with his thick shading. It would have been a lot more delicate. Later on, his style would have developed into things like that, which is that in real life. The Christmas issue, they put O'Neill on it. Someone had a sixth sense of humour in the editorial office, didn't they? In 1984. So yeah, there's that. And then a little indication of what is to come. This is getting mental now, to be fair. 1986. Here's the cover. I don't know why they put the cover there, so we won't go to the cover first. We'll go to the story first. Brett Ewins on Anderson, PSI division. Robin Smith wasn't one of my favourites. John Higgins on a Future Shock reprint. Here we go. Now we're getting into this intricate, very intricate. Not that he wasn't ever detailed, but this intricate stuff. And this is where you can start seeing, and in that prologue story for Roadbusters Book 2, you can see the martial law era. You can see it just coming in now. I think anyway. Brendan McCarthy's one page sooner or later on the back. Peter Milligan on the art, on the writing. Sorry, Ezquerra. It's a great era for 2000 AD. Look, you can definitely tell you're getting into the martial law era of his work. And again, the detail of all this. Look, just Bike Rider coming in. Just that nice, all this stuff. I think it's great. Into the short arm there. All right there. I'll stop banging on about that now. And Dredd basically going out in. I think he goes out into Cursed Earth. This is Pat Mills. I reckon this is some kind of prototype for martial law, because this character just catches people and shoots them for any reason. It's just Pat Mills running amok. With the storyline, with tongue firmly in cheek as always. There's the cover. For that one. Then we're at Prog 475. More of, not more of the same, just more of the madness. More of the, what's that? We've got a nice Brett Ewins cover, PSI division. Judge Anderson. It's got the artwork covered inside as well. What is memorable for this one is, look who it isn't doing a Future Shock. Barry Kitson doing a nice job on the art, who would later on go over to the US to work for, I don't know if it was DC and Marvel, but both or anyway. And Grant Morrison doing a little Fox Future Shock. There we go. We've got to start somewhere, haven't we? And there's O'Neill's work in colour, and as he drew it and as it was coloured. It wasn't often you saw Dredd with his zip undone. I've just noticed. How weird is that? I don't know why they decided to do some pages from the film. I think it's so you get the full story, maybe. Well, it must be, mustn't it? But these are obviously the original art, and they're just scanned from the film. See, stuff like this is just pure. It's come off. These heads come off. Look. Yeah, it's great, all crazy stuff. That was the end of that little two-parter, and then I won't. It's pointless. That's just an ad. What if Judges did ads? So that's just a crazy Judge Death eating some chewing gum, Tombs. Oh no, it's throat sweets. The sentence is death for eating sweets. I don't know where that come from. I don't know what they were doing with that. And what is moving on now to Metalzoic. Now this was a peculiar one actually, because Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill, they did this for DC. It was a graphic novel for DC Comics. And there we go, there it is in all its glory, this wrapper. And it was licensed back to 2000 AD. So we're coming like, you know, we're mid-80s now, maybe coming up to the end of the 80s. 86. And again, we've got all of the stuff that would typify their work together. Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill. I mean, that kind of says it all with these weird and wonderful characters from Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill's imaginations put together. And that's a good colouring job as well, I think, because I'm half and half on the colouring in some of these books, as you know, and the interior work. I don't know if they. I think they've only got the covers. Yeah, let's have a little look at the interior work here. Look at the detail. Sorry, I'm going backwards. It's very unprofessional. Here we go. He's developed his style again. I think something's changed. It's definitely got a bit more not complicated, a bit more meticulous. Again, as if you could get more detailed, but you can tell. You can definitely tell. And I think the graphic novel was in full colour as well. So perhaps that made a difference when he knew he was working in colour, maybe. So, but all of the typical stuff. You could just tell his work a mile away. There was no one quite like this man in art style. And I know you could say that for Bolland, you could say that for McMahon, but there's something different, and it is a subversiveness. It is the clean line. You know, Bolland had clean lines, but it's not this, is it? There is a madness there, I think. Yeah, definitely. I don't know why I'm saying subversiveness. Perhaps it was. I mean, Nemesis was I think the character synonymous with Kevin O'Neill, but here we've got Brian Talbot. But again, another great artist. There's Bernard Donnelly there on Ace Trucking Co. I really used to enjoy that. What have we got here? Brendan McCarthy on Dread. I used to love his Dread. Still love his artwork, Brendan McCarthy. This is quite subdued for McCarthy, actually. Yeah. Actually, that was quite a subdued one. Perhaps it was the storyline, but here we go again with that. It's become more sophisticated somehow, his work. Look, hey, again, this must just, you know, the guy couldn't do weekly comics, could he? He couldn't keep up with this kind of art style. He's gone back to all this back in the day stuff that I said he stopped using in that image. Another cover, Metalzoic. Obviously, you know, 2000 AD, we're making a big splash of it. That's a nice colour job again. Simple is sometimes best, I think. Nice 2-page spread here. Let's see. You're not getting a lot there, are you? For, I think that might be the close-up on the what's it, but that is a lot better, isn't it? Normally it's the other way around, I know, but there we go. I don't know why. Perhaps it's because of the colouring. I don't know what's happening with all this in black and white. It just isn't working. But in colour, that definitely. You can definitely see you know, definitely more impactful. And it's not often I say that. Normally I'm up for the black and white. And here we've got from Prog 500. Now this was an unusual one. here we go. I mean, this gloss cover, they went to town and done a gloss cover which hasn't aged well, so forgive me for it's just as yellow as the old artwork. But obviously you had all the artists. Here we go. Fabry, Ian Gibson, Cam Kennedy, Mick McMahon, Eric Bradbury, Alan Davis, John Higgins, Carlos Ezquerra, Bolland, O'Neill, little wink from Road Jaws, and a dodgy wink from Torquemada. Dave Gibbons, Steve Dillon, Robinson, Bellin and Donnelly, Kitson, Brett Ewins, Milligan and McCarthy. So I don't know why they put Milligan on there as well. Robin Smith, Ron Smith, Brian Talbot, and then the last page of this storyline, called Tharg's Head Revisited, which is obviously a satire of a program called Bride's Head Revisited, in name only. But there we go. It's just behind the scenes into Tharg's head with all the writers. There's Alan Moore, look, there's an artist, Dave Gibbons, Mick McMahon, look, MCM, Cam Kennedy, I'm assuming that is, maybe, because that's Cam Kennedy's page, that's Kevin O'Neill's page. Ian Gibson did his page with Alan Moore, Mick McMahon did his page with Pat Mills, was it? Yeah. So, yeah, it was just their little... And look at Ian Gibson. I mean, Halo Jones was his one, wasn't it? Suited his style. Just went over a writer artist. Now, Bonjo, Beyond the Stars, a bit like Walter the Wobot with Brian Bolland. I'm not, there's not a lot I can say about this. I didn't. But obviously, by the time you got to Prog 2000 odd, his style's moved on. He's almost cartoon. He's got a loose style, or whether or not he just wanted to not spend a lot of time on these Bonjos. So I'm not going to linger too long, other than to just, it's in here. Can't help thinking this was a bit of padding, which is unusual for Rebellion, but I don't know why anyone would want to see pages and pages and pages of Bonjo, to be fair. But that's just me. And perhaps you can appreciate the whimsical side of comics, but this is, for me, what I think when you say Kevin O'Neill 2000 AD, it will be Nemesis the Warlock. So let's have a little look, and see. He's done that again. He's signed it for me. Be pure, Kevin O'Neill. Now this is what he become. This is what made the guy famous. Here we go with a blitz spear. We're going to have a look at Terror Tubes, but I just want to look. Kilowatt is one of the early stories, but it's Nemesis. Let's just flick ahead. Look, stuff like this. Be pure, be vigilant, behave. All of this twisted. What was going to become Nemesis and the aliens in Nemesis and Torquemada's mission. This is where he really came into his own with Pat Mills. The darkness that was inherent in a lot of Kevin O'Neill's artwork really come to the fore. This was glorious stuff. Look, the imagination that goes into all of this, and thanks in large part to Pat Mills. Pat Mills, his consulting. The bestiary was, where they kept all the lists of aliens. Look, no, my mother was an alien. She killed my father. It was, like a lot of Pat Mills stuff, it was deep. This was, this was the stuff that made his name. But unfortunately, there wasn't a lot in this Apex edition of Nemesis. Even little stuff like this. Pure Kevin O'Neill. That's how all aliens were going to end up, unfortunately, in that saga. Obviously, there's just a bit more Bonjo. I just thought I'd give you a little break. They obviously even put him on the cover. I mean, that cover shows a style that has kind of really, really moved on from everything you'd know, from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, from Marshal Law. But look, another gloriously detailed cover for Roadbusters. Sign it for me. Look, just had the day 84. I just love this for the Hammerstein's gun and Rojaw's spade from Roadbusters versus these goons, which has got nothing at all to do with Roadbusters, to be fair. We've gone through all that artwork, but I just thought I'd show you that tipping. The tipping plate made me laugh, and another little signature and the cover. Rojaw's looking very square-jawed there. So that's the end of, thank God, of Bonjo. Sorry I couldn't summon up the enthusiasm for that, but I can for this. The first appearance, first release, Terror Tube. And what the idea was at the time, like stories suggested by the Jams going underground. I forget what the second one was. I don't think it's in here. No, it's not. But it made a beautiful cover. Different style, like the way they done the vinyls. That's how it came out. And these two characters, Elmer and Maybelline, will return in the final, when they kind of wave goodbye, when Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill wave goodbye. Torquemada didn't change much over the years, neither did the Blitzspear, when you consider how many years elapsed. That's a great image with a good use of the old rotoscope there, gotta say. And here, when it's used well, it can really work. Obviously, this is really, the grovel stuff, and we really are getting into peak Kevin O'Neill now. Yeah. So this is from issue 522. We've got some Steve Dillon on Road Trooper. Nice. What else have we got? Is that Barry Kitson on Dread? By the looks of it. Yeah, Barry Kitson. Oh no, on Anderson, sorry, not Dread. Nice bit. So this is a good selection of art. Don't know who that is on Dread, to be fair. It's not the best, but here we go. Talk about that's what you're here for. That's what you're here for with this stuff. Where are we now? We're kind of 87. Yes, we really are motoring along now. But again, this is the stuff. This is definitely the stuff where you can see he's, yeah, why he got in trouble in the States later on. That shall we say? Yeah. Right, and I haven't got the best of 2000 AD issue 100, so you just have to revel in the glory of, again, that looser style later on. The style that I think we love, we know him for with Nemesis and the other one, Roadbusters. He had started to progress. I think he progressed a lot looser. I'm not sure about the colouring on that, which is from the 1988 annual. Nice Brendan McCarthy cover by the looks of it. Correct me if you know I am wrong. I'm not loving the colouring on that at all. This was a real messy. I think that's a real messy colouring job on this. I don't know if you agree. That's really not adding to the. I'd love to see this in black and white, but I think he may have, by the looks of the bleed outside of the panels, it's watercolour, and I'm not enjoying that at all. That is a murky colouring job for a very whimsical story of his second honeymoon. That's from the poster prog. And again, you can still see the detail. I'm not saying he doesn't do the detail, but definitely a lot looser. Not so much here, but it almost looks like a samurai there. And again, this isn't the best colouring. You know, colour job like that, I think is obscuring the work. Not so bad here, but in here. But yeah, these, you know, this murky colouring. It's a shame because it is obscuring the artwork rather than adding to it. Sore as hell. But always intense. Not the best colouring job, but always intense. Stuff like this. The Blitz Spear. That's better. The Final Conflict. Now this is from the year 2000 AD. Done another nice glossy cover, nice Bolland cover. Who was in it? McMahon on Dread. Yeah, that was in his kind of like, he was changing his phase, developing his style for the new millennium, wasn't he? Let's have a look. Is that Bisley? No, Kevin Walker. Wow, he's changed. His style's got a lot looser in the 20 odd years since then. I'm not saying it's worse, I'm just saying. Lovely artwork. Let's have a look for this. Ezquerra had to be in here, didn't he? Nicola Dante wasn't the fondest of Cam Kennedy on a Dread. Mark Harrison. Right, here we go. Here's Nemesis. That looks nice. That looks. You can see the rawness of it, the looseness, not the rawness, the looseness of it, but still looking tight when it's brought down in size. And developing his style, and you know, moving on from the 80s, the Nemesis stuff. You know, you can see he's loosening up his style. You know, maybe he couldn't keep it that tight and intense forever. He talks to me. But still, obviously, Kevin O'Neill. I'll say the intensity, and this is for me the character that he will be known for. It was Nemesis for me. Obviously, it'll be Dread for Bolland. It'll be Slain for McMahon. Rogue Trooper for or Dandere for Dave Gibbons. Rogue Trooper, I think, for Gibbons, etc., etc. And where was Maybelline? Where was, because this was the last story. This was the final conflict, and in the final, is it in one of the final panels? I'm sure there's wording. Forgive me. I'm sure there was a balloon. What I said to you at the very, very beginning of the story. I'm sure they were back in a panel. Just a little wink to the mental fans. Heart bypass. Oh no, maybe I must have dreamt it. No, no, I'm sure. I thought Maybelline and that was still driving around getting lost. But obviously not. Let's compare some pages with words and imagery. The final conflict storyline. Curious to see how this panel worked out. Oh, unaltered art. So that's page 4. Aha. Here we go. So it was altered for the final. So these panels are all right. Oh no, that panel's not all right either. Actually, that's better. That's interesting. That close up, I suppose it was too horrific maybe. I don't know. Sometimes they just got a bit fussy with the horrific, how deep he would go with his artwork. He did start getting into a bit of trouble, being too subversive for his own good. And again, unaltered art up further, actually. That's a great image. Maybe it's looking too satanic, maybe, because I think he did get in trouble for that. That much I do know. So yes, there you have it. His 2000 AD Kevin O'Neill. I hope you enjoyed that, and I didn't linger too long this time and gush too much. And I will leave you with. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will leave you with Kevin O'Neill's artwork. A unique talent. Let's leave it there. Until the next Apex edition, I will bid you adios.